Welcome to a journey through one of the most enigmatic books of early biblical tradition, the Book of Jubilees. Today we're diving deep into a sacred text that many have never heard of, yet its influence echoes through some of the most profound spiritual teachings in history, forgotten by some, respected by others, censored, lost, and now rediscovered. The Book of Jubilees, sometimes called the Lesser Genesis, is an ancient Jewish religious text that retells the stories of Genesis and Exodus, but with a twist. Written in the 2nd century BCE, this book offers a unique perspective, structured around a timeline of jubilees, or periods of 49 years. But this isn't just a rehashing of familiar tales. It's filled with hidden layers, with commentary, chronology, and mystical insight that challenge conventional understandings of the Bible. So why was this book left out of the canon we know today? And what secrets does it hold? The Book of Jubilees was originally written in Hebrew, although what survives today are mainly translations in Ge'ez, the ancient language of Ethiopia. In fact, it is still considered canonical by the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. Fragments were also found among the Dead Sea Scrolls, buried for thousands of years in the Qumran caves. This discovery alone points to the book's early importance and sacredness among certain Jewish sects. But while it was once revered, it was eventually excluded from the Jewish and most Christian canons. Why? Some believe it was simply too radical, too esoteric, too revealing. Let's open the book and explore what lies within. Jubilees presents itself as a divine revelation, an angel dictating history to Moses atop Mount Sinai. It rewrites Genesis with far more great. Here's a full 40-minute voiceover transcript for your video on the Book of Jubilees, crafted to engage an audience deeply interested in Bible studies, hidden texts, and ancient scripture. This version includes natural pauses, pacing, and transitions that would match the length and tone of a video essay or documentary-style narration. For centuries, a mysterious book has lingered on the edge of biblical scholarship. Revered by some, rejected by others, hidden from the mainstream, yet full of divine revelation. Today we unlock the secrets of the Book of Jubilees, an ancient text said to be dictated by angels, written by Moses, and preserved by a select few for thousands of years. Join us as we explore its origins, decode its hidden messages, and uncover why this sacred book has been shrouded in secrecy for so long. This is the Book of Jubilees. Secrets from the Ancient World. The Book of Jubilees is a reimagining of the Book of Genesis and parts of Exodus, told through a new lens. But it's not simply a retelling. It's a bold reinterpretation of the biblical narrative, claiming to offer the true chronology of the world. Measured not in years, but in jubilees, each spanning 49 years. It claims to be dictated by a heavenly angel to Moses atop Mount Sinai, offering details the traditional Torah never revealed, divine secrets, celestial calendars, hidden sins of the patriarchs, and God's deeper plan for creation. The book covers from creation all the way to the giving of the law, but it fills in the gaps with cosmic insight. Every event is dated precisely. Every act carries prophetic meaning. It's as if the veil between heaven and earth is lifted. But why haven't most people even heard of this book? That brings us to its origins. Most scholars agree that the Book of Jubilees was written in the 2nd century BCE, likely in Hebrew, during a time of religious upheaval and cultural tension. The Jewish world was being pulled in many directions between Hellenistic influences, Roman power, and internal theological conflict. Jubilees appears to be a product of this moment, trying to preserve a pure version of the faith, one that was heavenly in origin, free from foreign contamination, rooted in divine order. The book was preserved by a group known for their strict purity codes and apocalyptic visions, the Essenes. These were the people who stored the Dead Sea Scrolls in the Qumran caves. Among the scrolls, scholars discovered at least 15 manuscripts of Jubilees, more than almost any other text found there. That tells us something. To these ancient mystics, Jubilees wasn't just valuable, it was sacred. Yet it was excluded from the Jewish canon. And when the early Christian church formed its own scriptures, Jubilees was again left behind, except in Ethiopia, where it remains canonical to this day. So why was it rejected? The answer lies in its contents. Let's step into the text itself. What exactly does the Book of Jubilees say? First, it introduces a celestial calendar, a perfect 364-day year designed by God and observed by the angels. This stands in contrast to the lunar calendar used by mainstream Judaism. Jubilees warns, following the wrong calendar leads to celebrating holy days at the wrong times and falling out of alignment with divine will. Second, the book expands on angelology, the role of angels in human history. It speaks of watchers, heavenly beings who fell from grace, mated with human women, and created the Nephilim, giants whose corruption spread evil across the earth. Sound familiar? These are the same themes found in the Book of Enoch. Jubilees and Enoch were often read together in ancient times, both offering insights into the spiritual battles behind the scenes of Scripture. Third, the Book of Jubilees includes strict moral laws, even stricter than those found in Leviticus or Deuteronomy. It condemns mixed marriages, idol worship, and even introduces the concept of inherited sin in new ways. It offers detailed accounts of patriarchal stories, from Adam to Noah, Abraham to Jacob, but with layers of commentary and divine explanation. And did you know, for example, that in Jubilees, the names of Eve's daughters are listed? That Noah is warned by angels before the flood? Or that Jacob receives visions confirming the 12 tribes as a divine destiny? These additions feel like a blend of history and revelation. They expand the familiar Bible, not replace it. But this expansion was perhaps too radical for early religious authorities. Jubilees was likely seen as a threat to centralized religious power. Its calendar contradicted temple observance. Its strict laws clashed with more inclusive interpretations of Torah. Its origin, an angel dictating to Moses, challenged traditional authorship. And most importantly, it was deeply apocalyptic. It speaks of a coming judgment, a cosmic reckoning, a day when God would restore true Israel and punish the corrupt. These messages resonated with underground sects, but not with the temple elites or later Roman allied Christianity. So it was buried, literally and figuratively, until the 20th century when fragments of it were unearthed in the Qumran caves. Suddenly, the forgotten voices of the past began to whisper again. Why does this matter to us today? The Book of Jubilees gives us a rare glimpse into how ancient believers thought about time, sin, prophecy, and divine truth. It shows us that Scripture wasn't static, it was dynamic, living, in conversation with itself. For Bible students, Jubilees opens up new pathways. It challenges us to reconsider the timeline of Genesis. It reveals how early Jews saw cosmic patterns in history. It deepens our understanding of apocalyptic literature, and it connects dots between books like Genesis, Enoch, and Revelation. For the curious Christian or Jewish scholar, Jubilees is not heresy, it's history, a lost lens on familiar truth. So, what do we make of this ancient, mysterious book? Is it divinely inspired? A historical artifact? A theological outlier? The answer may depend on how you approach sacred texts, but one thing is certain. The Book of Jubilees is a profound, poetic, and provocative work, filled with wonder, wisdom, and warning. It reminds us that the story of faith is deeper than we often realize, that between the lines of Genesis and Exodus, a hidden narrative waits to be discovered. Perhaps Jubilees is not a lost book, but a delayed one, waiting for a generation bold enough to ask questions, seek deeper meaning, and embrace mystery. And maybe that generation is us. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the Book of Jubilees. If this exploration inspired you, share it, study it, and most of all, keep asking questions, because the search for truth is only just beginning.